All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case on Rumble, although I do see that Rumble Rants is working, so my assumption is that it will actually load the video. Got to refresh that in a minute. We've got a bunch of things to talk about today. A few things I held over from yesterday. Of course, I did not get to my live stream. I was too fucking tired. The cat would not relent all night. It was difficult. Woke the baby up. Baby has to get fed. Baby fusses herself to sleep, so there's a lost hour almost. Then the cat decided to pretend to be a race car, actually, for the better part of a half an hour or more as well. And it's like you can't get up to grab the cat and say, you know, knock it off or something, because that'll wake the baby up. So it was difficult, very difficult the night before last. Make sure that we're live. Just a second, everyone. Yes, we're live. Okay, good. Because we've got a lot to cover. We're talking about Sam Harris, Steven Crowder. Oh, that actually reminds me. I should pop a link on. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, bear with me for just a second. I'll be putting a link up in the chat. You can see it. It will be pinned. I have that happy power as the master and lord of this live stream. All that power is going to my head. You know, it's going to corrupt me. Like I've got the ring of power. I'm going to turn into Sauron or Saruman. Probably hair-wise, more like Saruman. No, I don't want to go to my own channel. I want to pin the comment. All right, everyone. There is a pinned message over on YouTube. If you happen to be watching there, you should subscribe to me on Rumble. The platform has begun growing even quicker in the last 24 hours. Of course, Steven Crowder got banned off YouTube from streaming. His channel's still there, but he can't stream for a week or 2 weeks or something like that. And I stream as well on Rumble. So I'm trying to see how far we can drive things up over there. Let's make it another Clank platform because we are just shy of 100,000 subscribers on Rumble. So please do join that site. It's very, very good times. That'll be the third site we've got a six-figure Clank audience on, along with YouTube and BitChute. Crazy Loon, live sticks, best sticks. Eric Herrera, is there any tea that can help in weaning off of alcohol? Do a lot of chamomile, you'll basically just sleep all the time. Apache Senpai, morning sticks, where did the meme of being presidential come from? Most beloved presidents are brash like Trump, but now everyone wants a stoic. Yeah, it is true. I'll look at LBJ. Even Bush at certain points. I know that's not the most kind comparison that you can make. Hell, Obama, you know, like, didn't he call Kanye one time a jackass? Yeah, that's what people thought that was hilarious at the time, but he didn't put it on Twitter. There was no mean tweet, so nobody had a problem with it. ZB-Man 100, nobody trusts the FBI. Does that matter to them? No, the FBI doesn't care. They've got theirs. They got lots of money and lots of power. John Hoyle. You haven't actually clanked possibly in a year now. Can you make a video with clanking? Will you ever clank again? Yeah, I'll probably get more into like coffee and shit. As the weather grows colder, I'm more inclined to do that. Maybe I'll put a little bit of hot chocolate in with it too. That's what I'm talking about. A little bit of whipped cream on top. I'm going to get fancy. I'm becoming decadent and Europeanized. Anyway, we've got our first news story of the day. This is a big one, and I did cover it this morning. It is very major story, and there aren't enough people talking about it. Why the Mar-a-Lago affidavit could become one of the most scrutinized documents in American politics. By the way, you can follow along. Links in the description, mostly archived to all of the things that I will be covering. Those that aren't, it's like a tweet or some shit like that, or it has a video in it. Of course, you run it through the archive, and you'd have to go to the live page to play the video. The FBI search of Donald Trump's Florida resort and the removal of classified information raise a compelling need for maximum public disclosure, given the involvement of an ex-president who's a likely 2024 candidate. And it goes through here. Even CNN has called for the release of this affidavit, which is why they are releasing the affidavit. But there is a big caveat here, and I analyzed that this morning. This affidavit is going to be heavily redacted. When you see it, when you see the affidavit that's supplied roughly in a week, that's how long the DOJ has to redact the documents, the multiple pages there. You're not going to see the entire truth. What this is going to boil down to is a lie by omission, something that's very fond to the legacy media. I've been talking about it now for about half a decade. What they're going to do is redact large swaths of the affidavit, some of which is fine. You're redacting the name of someone who you claim is an informant. Okay, that's fine. That's normal procedure. They're also going to redact things related to the top secret documents. Here's the problem, and I didn't mention this in my morning video because I wanted to cover it on a live stream to more people. The big problem is you have not proven that there are any classified or top secret documents in what was taken from the Mar-a-Lago. That's speculative. You suspect that those materials are there. Trump is claiming they're all declassified. Ergo, you're going to be redacting the affidavit, assuming that the material is top secret. This is a little bit of a problem. What it's going to be is that they're going to make it as damning as possible for Trump. This is my official prediction. After a week or whenever they fully unseal it and release it, you're going to see a document that looks like the original 9/11 report. It will have a lot of black magic marker in it, and it will look very damning. You won't hear anything further about that beyond the original slew of people that are liberal or have Trump derangement syndrome saying, well, we got him this time. See, the affidavit is cut and dry. Trump has documents related to nuclear secrets. Trump has documents related to, I don't know, anything else under the sun. Anything pertinent to any other ongoing investigation is redacted. The names are likely to be fully redacted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you're not going to know who is alleging anything. You're not going to know specifically what they're alleging. It will be complete bullshit. It will be completely useless. What we need is the completely unredacted affidavit, maybe minus the person who they claim is an informant. Basically, that's what we need in order to actually establish as the public whether this raid should have happened at all. We will not be getting that. Nonetheless, the second that it is released, and it will be released through the legacy media mainly first, it will be pounced on by every craptivist with Trump derangement syndrome. They will parse through it. They will do it very quickly, by the way. They'll have their hot takes first on Twitter, and then they'll have a million write-up articles about how Trump is going down. That is what will happen. There is no doubt in my mind. You will see it. This is an official prediction, so you can see if I'm right or not. Trust me, I will be. And it will be bullshit. It'll be part of the kangaroo court trial, so-called, of Donald Trump, which I still do not believe is necessarily about actually getting him into a jail cell or indicting him or trying to drag him before court. It's much more about trying to dampen his 24 chances and holding it over the head of the MAGA Republicans in the midterms. That's my personal opinion. Crazy Loon. What do you think of Lovecraft's view of real grimoires? He is said to have called them boring, hence why he created the Necronomicon. Well, Lovecraft never created the Necronomicon. The one that's most famous was made in the 1980s, actually, and has nothing to do with Lovecraft's own particular work. Yeah, a lot of them are, though. A lot of them are basically angelic magic, or they're hidden writing, like the Steganographia. So he would be correct. Symbolic belief. What brand or type of chamomile do you buy? When possible, you grow it yourself. You can grow it in containers. You can sprinkle the seeds on fallow soil. Trust me, they'll grow just fine. You don't need to do much to grow chamomile. Ty Salome, do you think China would risk its economy for TW? Yeah, for Taiwan, yeah, they might. They might be crazy enough to do so. Lance Johnson, I am a big fan. Styx is fantastic. Smart guy. That's a quote by Tim Pool. Thank you, Tim Pool. I think you're a cool dude, too. Saltness Monster, waiting for Mark Dice's video today. Little Brian. Oh, yeah, Brian Stelter did get axed from his CNN slot there. The Potato Man is gone. He, I don't think, has a job at the moment, which puts him on par with many other Americans as layoffs continue. Chase M, carbonated water will help stop drinking. Don't know that that's actually the case. Maybe a placebo, but we'll see. Crazy Loon. Also, media in Texas are astroturfing a new MAGA, which is called Mothers Against Greg Abbott. Thoughts on it? Is it a forced meme or decent attempt? I haven't heard anything about it, so probably forced meme. If it's coming from the left, that should be obvious. Ty Sloan, would the DPRK help China with Taiwan? Not sure. First, they would have to have a functional military capable of projecting force for, more than 100 miles. Most of theirs is artillery and submarine warfare, but Taiwan would be relying upon ground-based anti-ship missiles at that point, not on its own fleet. Greg E. I bought Fruits of Eden, but it's a misprint. All of the book seems to be printed as About Something Real by Rob Hill Sr. What can I do about this? So you tried to order Fruits of Eden, but it was a different book? I don't know. You'll have to contact Amazon about that. About Something Real by Rob Hill Sr. Yeah, they must have shipped the wrong one with the wrong cover art. Occasionally, I have heard of glitches with Amazon. You should contact them and get your money back. Give me updates on Twitter DM if you can when you get through with that. Michael Cricklow, Sticks, drop a t-shirt so we can wear it with pride. Yeah, I do want to have merch again, but I don't have anyone to offer merch right now. I'm going to just do it myself next time, but I've got a million other things going on, and that's basically the last of my priorities. Couch, good morning, everyone. How are the cats, Sticks? They're doing well, just as energetic, especially at night, as ever. Luther Hildebrand, you're an arcane headmaster in my game for my players. Other than seeking rare alchemy reagents and literature, what would a master of the clank desire? Alchemy would definitely be high on that list. Probably necromancy or something like that. I always thought that was cool. Jim Rockwell, what type of chamomile makes you hallucinate? You'd have to drink a hell of a lot of it or use the extracted tincture in order to get to that point, I think. You'd probably die if you tried, so I wouldn't recommend it. C Daddy Gaming, have you ever written any occult work specifically on the Masons? If not, do you ever plan to? I'm sure many of your viewers would be interested. I have edited works on the Freemasons, in fact, fairly recently. But I have not written a work on the Freemasons, no. Crazy Loon. By the way, I gave my uncle your gun control book as a gag gift. He is a big gun guy and loved it. He now uses it to keep notes on his guns. I'm glad that he enjoys it. Sean Nathan. Sticks, finally caught your stream. Keep on fighting the good fight. Always. Prague sent $4.99. No comment, thank you. Grandpa Nurgle, loving the stream, Sticks. Can't wait to see more with you and Sleazy. Crack. Tech Girl Tiff, I bought merch from you once when you had merch available and the quality was crap. So if you do merch again, try and get better quality merch. My apologies for that. I didn't buy my own merch. I had one of my mugs. That seemed to be fine. Yes, I would like to get something that's high quality, made in the USA, etc., etc. That is sort of what I'm aiming for. Now, we've got a second news story here. Second link in the description. By the way, again, if you're watching on YouTube, link pinned in the chat there. Please take it because I am on Rumble, getting up very close to 100,000 subscribers there. I'm trying to get to it as fast as possible because apparently they will be having awards for that in the future. That has been semi-confirmed to me privately. So I want another scalp on my belt. Anyway, look at the polls there. Again, link in the description. 2024 Republican presidential nomination. We have one new poll here from Politico. Now, one poll does not reality make, but you can compare it to prior polls from the reasonably recent period. Thankfully, we have a couple of other political polls we can compare their own poll to. Same methodology, similar sample size, all things remaining the same. If you have a shift that's outside of the margin of error, you can show velocity. You can't show a real number. You can't show a final result, but you can show velocity towards or against a candidate, a thing, an idea within the polling. Latest Politico poll, which closed over a week ago because they're dragging their ass on updating polls on RCP at times for some reason outside of the main polls. Politico. This is for the Republican presidential nomination. Donald Trump in first place with 56%, which means he beats everyone else combined. DeSantis has fallen to 18%. By the way, that echoes to the Harris poll, which wasn't long before. DeSantis appears to have peaked at some point in June or July, and then subsequently has reduced since then. Pence actually in third place at 8 points, which is funny. Cruz, Haley, and Cheney tied for fourth place at 2% apiece, and then you have a bunch of other people that clearly are not going to be the nominee. For some reason, some of these polls include Rubio and Scott and even Chris Christie. Drop them off the goddamn polls. There's no reason to have them there. They're clearly either not running or not viable. So and here's the thing, though. This particular poll that shows an advantage for Trump of 38 points, we can compare to the prior Politico polls. We can't compare it to any other poll because we'd have to look at the methodology. The most recent Politico poll before that had Trump at plus 30. It's still a huge gap. It's still significant, but it's much less than 38. The other one, which was about a week before that, had him at plus 31. He was at plus 28 as well in the prior poll, but that's the end of June, so you're getting a little bit beyond comparison at that point. What this shows me is that Trump has velocity. At the very least, it shows that he hasn't lost any support since the raid, since we're taking into consideration a single day's polling thereafter. I would like more polls. I would like probably 2 or 3 more before I make a final determination. What this does establish is that he has not lost any support. In fact, if anyone has, oddly enough, it's Ron DeSantis, which is very interesting to me. He came out, he was one of the first and most vehement defending Trump, actually, which is admirable, to tell the truth. Pence, for some reason, he seems to have, around 10% support in a lot of these polls, although it's a little bit less more recently. I can't imagine that he becomes nominee. I think it'll still be Donald Trump. Warshaw Q, off topic sticks, but do you have any thoughts of Jesse Lee Peterson allegedly being gay? I weighed in on this when that story first broke, and what it really is a bunch of vehement Catholics, like really fire and brimstone, like TradCon Catholics, had their story amplified first by the manosphere and then by elements of the lamestream leftoid legacy media, like the Will Summers of the world were all talking about it. And I don't believe it because there's no evidence to believe it from. The evidence in that little mini documentary that establishes the concept of Jesse Lee Peterson being either gay or specifically a predator of young men is not evidence. It's anecdotes. It's people making claims. It's been potentially legally actionable claims of defamation, by the way, if they can't prove that actually happened. It's a hit piece. Whether it's true or not is irrelevant until there's actual evidence that's offered. The Happy Plague Doctor, clanking at my local breakfast restaurant. That down-home cooking. Home fries, one of the best things ever. Slathered in ketchup, of course. Walker, Texas Danger. Tim said he'd pay for your travel, etc. to be on Timcast. Yes, but I'm not going to do that when I'm over here on the other side of the pond. It'd be when I'm back in the United States. The baby is chuffing at the moment, so you probably hear that in the background. C Daddy Gaming, edited or written. Either way, the work you put in to make occult knowledge more easily accessible to the masses is much appreciated. Clank, thank you very much. Tarl Warwick's Books blog, or Tarl Warwick Books blog. There's no S in that first part. If you want to see the works that I've written, they are decently arranged. I have to do a little bit of tidying up on those 2 blogs, and I'm thinking of making a Substack for my literature as well. Go back through it, repost the material over time, maybe a post a week or something. It'd take about 4 years to post it all, but maybe. Jason Lee, hi from Australia, Sticks. Is there any French influence in your home state of Vermont, e.g. Francophones Quebecois culture? French ancestry, since you're so near to French Canada. Yeah, Vermont comes from Verdemont, which means green mountains. It's literally and explicitly the only state directly, other than Louisiana, explicitly named after French terminology. Quite a bit of it. Sandscan, hey Sticks, daily viewer here. Have you checked out the new images from the James Webb Telescope and any thoughts on potential new discoveries like age and size of the universe? It's still like looking at a single drop of water from the ocean, analyzing it and trying to figure out what's in the ocean. So it's not very meaningful, but they are nice pictures. K Castle, Sticks, have you tried Linden tea? Clank, no, I don't think I have. Michael Cricklow, I have a feeling Youngkin might try to run in 24. Yes, but he won't run if Trump does. That's my reading of the situation. Just a second here. I've also got to check on Rumble. Yes, we do have another Star Wars 123. Should Biden pardon Trump if the DOJ convicts? Trump's first action in 25, pardoning crooked Hillary and Obama, would piss me off, but would reduce temperature of nation and ultimately would be good. Trump will not get convicted, in my opinion. So that's basically a non-issue. No, I don't think that Trump should pardon the Clintons. They wouldn't accept the pardon. There's no charge and no indictment. So JDF, would love to shout out the channel The Brushfire Mind. Great guys, great news coverage similar to you, Sticks. Love the lives. Nuclear Taco, shut up and take my money. Gladly. Monty Fennell, every little bit helps. Luka Pilipovic, just arrived. What did I miss? Also, what is the best way to support you? I don't like YouTube getting a cut from Superchats. You can always send me crypto. Links in the description cross-platform to my wallet addresses. You can also use Subscribestar, or you can just buy books. Then you get something tangible in return. Next, we have MSNBC. Now, this one is straight out of insanity here. This is beyond even MSNBC's normal level of goofy. MSNBC on Twitter. Rick Scott's public attack on the IRS is full of half-truths, distortions, and outright lies. Gee, wonder why. It goes on to talk about, well, I wonder why he doesn't want more IRS audits for the rich. So in other words, for Democrats at this point. The Dems have become the political party of the super rich. Here's the thing. Effectively, this is MSNBC defending the IRS. So the first or second most hated bureau in the United States has become the love interest, apparently, along with the FBI, which is also fairly down there, of people who claim to be liberal. You should be clamoring to get rid of the IRS. Most of those audits attack the middle class. They don't have anything to do with the rich. The idea that Biden is telling the truth when he says, don't worry, if you're making under $400,000 a year, we're not going to target you with more audits. That's bullshit. We know that that's not the case. We can look at the statistics already. Most audits target people that are making between roughly 50K and 200K. So the core middle and into the upper middle class. Not rich people, not the donor class, not people with 3 or 4 homes, not the people that Rick Scott parties with, not the people that Gavin Newsom parties with. People like you, people like me. Generally, most of you are in that category or you're making less than that. So, Rick Scott is fundamentally correct. Yes, the IRS it should screw itself. They should do away with it. Tom Palmer saw a Legal Eagle video that said nuclear documents specifically can't be declassified just by the press discussing them. Have you looked into that? I've seen no corroboration that's the case, but again, the only corroboration that we have that nuclear documents had any role whatsoever to play in what the Mar-a-Lago raid saw recovered by the FBI, or stolen, depending on how you want to term it, is a WAPO article with unnamed sources. Like I said earlier, I have a feeling this will have something to do with the redactions. This is top secret material. We can't tell you exactly what's in it. What will the liberal media do? It will immediately use the WAPO article that does not name its sources as evidence that the redacted portion that's about the more specific content involves nuclear secrets. And thus the grift continues. You can't jail Donald Trump for it without having that material be cross-examined, but you can convince the public he's guilty as sin. And that's exactly what their distortion and their attempt to redact the document will pertain to. There is no evidence that any nuclear documentation was present at the Mar-a-Lago. There are claims by people familiar with the matter. Well, that could be the janitor. That could be someone with severe Trump derangement syndrome. Jeremy, what's up, Sticks? I've been listening to you for years. My flight's been canceled. Now I'm stuck in Sacramento for the next 3 hours. Thanks for helping pass the time. I'm glad that you're enjoying the show. Good luck on getting these fucking airlines to get their ass in gear and do what they need to do. Maggie Gruder, hey Sticks, taking my CDL learner's permit test later today. Wish me luck. Good luck to you. Mandala Bunny, you recommended a Boston fern as a non-toxic plant, so I got one and love it. I'm now a houseplant addict. I added 6 more plants. Ha ha ha. Excellent. Yeah, get 6 more. You have my blessing. Jack's regret. What are your thoughts on Crowder getting banned from YouTube because of Carrie Lake interview? Clank, we will be discussing that. Don't worry, that's one of our main news stories. Oh, in fact, we just covered the MSNBC one. Oh, yeah, we have to do Sam Harris. That'll be a funny one. Star Wars 123 on Rumble. Thoughts on musicians inserting positive occult ideas into their music and its effects on the listener? Bowie, Jimmy Page, Led and Tool, drummer Danny Carey, or in the medium of graphic novel Alan Moore. I think that the occult is positive. I don't see any problem with it. And people that have a problem with it typically don't know anything about it, I've noticed. Sketch therapy. Remember the case of MLK versus government? William F. Pepper, Ridge Farms remembers. There's a book on it. It was a big case. Maybe you'd like it. Yeah, Martin Luther King was killed by the U.S. government. Greentop LLC. What's your opinion on buying rental properties in the current year after all the COVID nonsense in a totally not fiscal advice format? Yes, disclaimer, not official fiscal advice. I would not want to buy a rental property. Fuck that. End up with the government coming in because one person walks in and happens to be coughing and they tell you that you can't even evict them even though they're destroying the property. No, thank you. Melchior Borgier. Sam Harris was always a horrible authoritarian. Yes, we'll get into that now. And I said on Twitter, this is the mentality of most of the legacy media and craptivist. He's just saying the silent part out loud. Yes, Sam Harris here, Sobiek broke this, was saying that the Hunter Biden laptop story helped Joe Biden. So he has no problem with it. And even went on to elaborate and say that even if Hunter Biden had dead kids in his basement, that wouldn't have been a problem either. So there's a bit of backlash against him for this. But I'd like to categorically state something. This is exactly the same kind of rhetoric. It's more explicit, more open, but it's exactly the same basic premise as we've been getting from the legacy media now for 5 years. How is this any different from what CNN, MSNBC, the Young Turds, Vanity, all of these other groups? Name one. You've seen articles from them saying, well, Donald Trump is so terrible. You know, it doesn't matter if we override the Constitution to get rid of him. Donald Trump's so terrible. It doesn't matter if we fortify the election. That's perfectly fine, too. Donald Trump's so terrible. It's okay if we openly harass and intimidate people for supporting him. It's okay if we breach the First Amendment with government-funded, government-subsidized groups that platform government goods and services like Twitter with NOAA, et cetera, et cetera. It's okay if the government literally leans on them to ban people from their platforms, American citizens, from participating in the modern-day public square because Orange Man bad. Sam Harris, other than being more obtuse and more off the chain as far as his vehemence against Trump here, is really not saying anything that hasn't already been said now for more than half a decade. That's what I would like to point out. It's not a defense of Sam Harris not giving a shit about Hunter Biden's very likely basement contents, but it's not really that different from what we've been hearing. God, we've spent a half decade with this shit. Nothing is beyond their capability to excuse. If somebody were to blow Trump's head off tomorrow, I have a feeling that the majority of liberals, not a minority, not a small shrieking group, would cheer. I have a feeling they'd be happy about it, and they would say, well, that ends that, right? Oh, it was justified. Some crazy from Antifa or something takes a shot at him, they'd be celebrated. They'd be asking Biden to pardon them, probably. Well, he tried to kill off the evil, most Hitlerist terrorist of our time. This is justified. And Scott Adams, by the way, is evinced by this sort of rhetoric, too, just to say. Again, I have my problems with some of his views, but Scott Adams has been pointing out for a long time, and I have too, and certain others. If you have convinced the population, or a segment of it, some millions of people, that the Nazis are coming back, the Republic will fall, everyone will be enslaved, Trump really is that evil, he really is Satan. If you hammer it into their minds over and over again that this is the case, some of them can become violent. Look at the individual, and you never really get a follow-up on this story because the story was shafted by the New York Times and others, who went to Kavanaugh's house in the wake of the Roe v. Wade leaks in order to try to kill him, quite explicitly, attempted to kill a sitting Supreme Court justice. Well, he thought it was justified. Yeah, of course he was off his rocker. There are a lot of off the rocker people in society. Let's say 1% of the U.S. population is nuts enough to be violent in the name of politics or something. That's millions of people, many of which I think lean left. So Sam Harris, all he's doing is reiterating what they've already been saying in different words. It's just that he doesn't have the sense or the finesse to say it in a way that's more palatable. Sketch therapy. If your edits and books, what's your favorite work? Now, of my edits and books. I don't know. I really like the compilations that I've done more lately. I've done 6 of them. I want 3 more, by the way. One of them will be on the Freemasons, I believe. Will M., do you think if Trump wins 2024, the Dems might try a real insurrection? Mar-a-Lago has got me thinking they might try anything to keep power. It's not just the Dems, it's also the neocons. And we see the coup attempt is ongoing as we speak with the Mar-a-Lago raid. They don't need Trump to win in 2024 to be doing this shit. Sigil Stone 17. Maybe Sam Harris is angling for one of the new higher managerial jobs at the IRS. He wants to do the oppressing himself now. Yeah, well, it sounds like his career of making content is dwindling. So, yeah, maybe he's looking for a job switch. Bartimaeus 1. I find it hilarious that while leftoids shriek fascism at just about everything, they ignore that the FBI raid is essentially an institution attacking a private citizen to protect itself. Very fascist. Yeah, potentially. Ozzy's Robots. If Trump wins in 2024, how would he fight the deep state? Could he purge the woke mind virus from the military and bureaus? Yeah, he can do that as commander-in-chief, by the way, easily. I think he goes scorched earth and activates mobster vendetta mode. Clank. I would love to see that. John Christian. It's my wife Katie's 43rd birthday today. She's hotter than she was at 23, and she was hot at 23. Please wish her a happy birthday. Well, happy birthday, Katie, to John Christian's wife there. Glad you are aging with grace. Broken Sword. I've been a truck driver for nearly 5 years, and I get a per diem as part of my pay. In most cases, per diem is not taxable. Do you think with the expansion of the IRS, they'll find a way to tax it more? Yeah, they're going to try to tax everyone more. And if you're in trucking, you're exactly the kind of person they have a problem with. Farmers, truckers, people who are independent content creators will certainly be on that fucking list. I'm not going to take any deductions this next year. I'm not even going to bother saving the extra few thousand that I could save because I'm done with it. Joel P. Having a great morning watching Sticks while enjoying a bran muffin and some prune juice to honor Joe Biden, the greatest and most influential world leader in history. All hail. Yeah, that's his breakfast of choice every day. Not sure. Check out Casual Armory for unique builds and reviews. Clank forever. All right, a shout out for Casual Armory. I'll check it out sometime. Sometime as I get busy. So yeah, Sam Harris has really screwed the pooch. Now we'll get to Crowder. By the way, there is a link in the description as well to Steven Crowder's Rumble channel. He's gained, I don't even know how many subscribers in the last couple of days. He did an interview with Carrie Lake, and it got taken down off of YouTube. And that means he has a strike on his channel. Well, when you have a strike on your channel, even if you are specifically geared towards being a live streaming channel, you can't live stream for, I think it's a week or 2 weeks or something like that. And then eventually the strike goes away. For the second one, I think they ban you from streaming for a month. I don't exactly know how it works anymore. It's different from it used to be in the past. Better in the sense they give you one warning strike, depending on what the warning is for. Everything else is worse than it used to be years ago. So they've ignored the fact that Crowder is one of the larger streamers on their platform and told him he can't stream. So he says, oh, I'll go on Rumble and I'll do it there. He got almost 100,000 live viewers at the same time on Rumble. He's got almost 1 million subscribers. I don't know how many thousands of people he added in the last 24 hours. Right now, his latest stream has over 350,000 views on it. I think he's doing just fine. I think that YouTube's censorship attempt, it's part of the midterm purge, of course. They'll probably do it to people like me, too, at some point here. I think it backfired. Eric Herrera, Chamomile Tea, thanks for telling me. Hope this helps. I am right. Have you seen the latest CDC COVID guidelines? No, I haven't. And even if I do, I'm probably not allowed to mention my YouTube stream. So yeah, definitely follow me. How many subscribers, by the way, have I gained since I began streaming? I wonder. Let me check. Yeah, about 150. So we're working up towards 99,400 at the moment. That's we're pretty close. Come on, clankers. If you're watching on YouTube, take that fucking link that's pinned in the chat area. Join me on Rumble, my son or daughter. K-Max McDonald, Sticks, Ramsey Paul was just banned from Patreon without warning or strike. Are you the last guy on the right left on Patreon? I never post anything on Patreon. I don't even exactly know how much I make per month there. Not as much as on Subscribestar. I don't give a shit about Patreon. Maybe I should just abandon the site. I'll make a post saying, here's a better site where you can donate, and they take less of a cut too. It doesn't surprise me at all. Although he was on there for a very, very long time, and his content tends to be more edgy than mine, at least in the sense of like the nationalism side of things. Ramsey's a little bit more edgy than me. But it doesn't surprise me, along with Crowder and others. It's another political purge prior to the midterms. They're trying to take, especially people that go live. I think they're afraid we'll interview candidates and give them a platform after they've been harassed or something like that. PWN Tang, where do you find occult sources to edit? That is proprietary information, so I won't reveal that. I have my methods. Colin Madden, have you been watching Anthony Cumia and Gavin McInnes on Wednesdays? Reminds me a lot of classic Stern shows, albeit more political, obviously. No, I haven't been. Yeah, by the way, I should probably point out, technically, I'm not on the right at all, politically. Sparky, intellectuals fall into intellectual traps. Fake news or data easily fool them. Scott Adams is a nice guy, but has been an unwitting rolling limited hangout for the deep state. Hope he's coming around. I don't think that. I think he marches to the beat of his own drum. God, the trees are still screwing each other. By the way, we have a really funny article here. This is probably, it's got to be one of the funniest comparisons that I've seen so far with the Joe Biden administration. But first, how many people are watching? We have 5,000 watching cross-platform right now. It looks like the Rumble audience is inching its way upward. It's already gaining 100, 200 new subscribers every day there. If I could do that on YouTube, God, I'd be at 1 million right now, probably. Energy Valandia, Sticks, come back to the U.S. and become a consultant. My hubby and I love you. Consulting for what? I've got the dream job. I wake up whenever I want to, or whenever the cat decides that I should, feed the cat, and then get right into it. Melkor Bergier. What's your opinion on the Russia-NATO war in Ukraine? Leaks are showing up to 250,000 dead and injured Ukrainian soldiers. Sounds reasonably possible. I don't trust any numbers, though. And my thought remains the same as months ago. There's a fog of war propaganda-laden situation in Ukraine. I have no clue how many soldiers on either side died. I don't often know who controls what land. I don't know who's false flagging who at any given time. So I gave up bothering to talk about it because I don't want to be simping for disinformation. Sigil Stone 17. Sticks pulling the meme. What's your source? None. I made it the fuck up. Okay, Max McDonald. I think censorship timing makes more sense. Would you say it has to do with elections? Midterms or presidential? It seems to coincide close to those. Yes. Also, you got to understand there's going to be an uptick in political banter generally. Therefore, there will be an uptick in people flagging material. So part of it is actually organic. Another part of it is crapavistic. The Climate President. This is by Slate. A chief executive hasn't done as much as Joe Biden has for the environment in 50 years. That's not the case. We'll get into that a little bit, but I wanted to point out how funny this article is because it's comparing Joe Biden to a very special someone that generally is not spoken of in happy terms on the left. Richard Milhouse, goddamn Nixon. They're comparing Joe Biden now to Richard Nixon. I guess it's better than being compared to Jimmy Carter. The idea is like the Clean Air Act and shit like that of the Nixon administration, which things were heavily polluted back in the 1960s and 70s, and it did make sense. The idea of having like clean air, clean water standards, but it was authentic environmentalism. There was smog everywhere. There was lead everywhere. All sorts of crazy shit, to the point where it crippled people's mental development for a half century almost. But what in Joe Biden's bill actually pertains to anything substantially similar to the Clean Water Act or the Clean Air Act? Nothing. It's climate NIMBYism. It's all about EVs, which are highly polluting, lithium mining, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is not actually going to work. It's Cylinder 2.0. And the rest of the bill basically has to do with new taxes and expanding the IRS. It has nothing to do. What are you talking about? It has nothing to do with the so-called green movement. Even if we gave it credit for being actually green, it doesn't really touch upon that much. Much of this bill is just the IRS Expansion Act. The rest of it's a bunch of funny money pork barrel spending, which will cause more inflation. And even the Biden people, they don't say this publicly, but they've effectively acknowledged it will at least temporarily up inflation. Long term, they're hoping that the costs come down as a result of this. Well, we'll have better, more efficient cars and blah, blah, blah. Even if I assume that would happen, it's going to take a decade. It's not going to help anyone who's poor. It's not going to help anyone in the middle class. They're not going to buy EVs. Luka Pilipovic, unfortunately, Sticks, they'll label you a right-winger regardless of all your views. Some nutty liberal probably wants to punch you because you support the Second Amendment. Yeah, I mean, I live every day knowing that. I'm perfectly comfortable with that, by the way. I don't really care about the opinion of mental midgets. Jay Thomas, the Babylon Bee is offering Brian Stelter a job producing fake news. You know, he might be opportunistic enough to take it if they offer him enough money. Bara7331, just subscribe to you on Rumble. Yes, everyone should do so. Keep in mind, of course, I will definitely be live streaming the midterms on Rumble, not just on YouTube, and I will have a third site by then. I'm not sure exactly how I'll do it. Of course, I've been banned off Twitch for, well, they didn't really give me a reason, but I've been banned there anyway. And it's like, 100 people were paying attention to me. I feel so owned by whatever pink-haired freak decided to flag the stream. I don't even know why I was banned. They never elaborated. I haven't gotten any message back from them after a week, so I have a feeling that I won't. Viking Woman 1988. Morning clank. Clank, clank, clank. The kitty is trying to get in front of the computer. Please don't do that. Kitty on stream, plus 10% viewers. Kitty in front of computer, steps on keyboard and accidentally ends the stream. So, no, thank you. Okay, and then we, oh boy. This is from the Today Show the other day. I mean, this is a couple days outdated now, but I had to throw this in here because it's just so funny. This lady here, Liz Cheney, is utterly and completely off her rocker in every way, shape, and form. I don't know that there's a word in the English language that describes insanity of that level. Like insanity is like, okay, you're insane. Nuts, okay, you're not. How nuts are you? A little bit nuts, a lot of bit nuts. You're a Mounds bar or something. You have demented or something. Well, how far along is your dementia? Are you talking Joe Biden levels or 1987 Reagan levels? With Liz Cheney, it's on a totally different planet. I will be doing whatever it takes to keep Trump out of the Oval Office, she says. Okay, commendable goal if you're a liberal, which is what Liz Cheney and all the other people like her are. Liz Cheney says she's thinking about running for president. My friend, you are at 2% in the aggregate polls for the primaries. You're clearly not going to be the nominee. You got soundly rejected. You would have no chance in any red state, little chance in any swing state, and that's basically a lock. You can't win the primaries. You will not be a GOP candidate. If you run as a Democrat, especially if you're crazy enough to think that Trump will actually be out or in a jail cell, you will immediately be crucified because you voted with the GOP 99% of the time, so you can't join the Democrats. If you run as an independent, nobody's going to vote for you because they want viability. In a highly politically charged election, where part of the population says Trump is Hitler and part of it considers him Jesus Christ, nobody's going to vote for a third-party candidate. Hate to break this to the third parties themselves as well as any independents. You're not going to do well in the 24 election. That's a guarantee. Your entire total will be less than 1 million votes between all parties, all independents nationwide. That's what I would personally think. There's no chance of a Liz Cheney presidency. And more cerebral groups are pointing that out and saying, look, this is not the beginning of a new chapter for Liz Cheney. This is not going to turn into her major comeback Lincoln style. This is just the death of the old Bush-Cheney-Romney consensus. And good riddance. It couldn't come soon enough. I wish it had come 10 years ago. Brad King. Do you think Gab should sue for defamation? In a campaign ad against Mastriano, they called them a white supremacist app. They can try. Problem is, defamation cases, unfortunately, in modern times have to prove some sort of material damage to oneself or one's company. That would be difficult since the campaign against Mastriano is not a competing social media site. Rowhouse, Sticks, was there ever a leftist you feel does debate in good faith? How did you debate on gun control recently? What about him? That was Kosciarella. No, I think that was not there for good faith debate. I think that he thought that he actually would win and then grow his audience more than anything else, which is hilarious. He came armed with a 22 to a 50 cal fight. Sigilstone 17. You ever seen the Twitter account Crack Connoisseur? Great schizo posting in one video not so subtly suggesting the government has used mass shootings to kill anyone working on water-fueled engines. Yeah, sure they have. That's some schizo posting right there. Certain Mike. So many on the left seem brainwashed. Is there any way to get them to listen? Also, you had a troll on the last Twitch stream. It's literally they reported you. Yeah, who gives a shit? It's Twitch. It's not the place for meaningful political commentary. Hell, didn't they ban Destiny off their platform? If they can't handle the left-wing midget dude, they're not going to be able to handle the sticks. So, yeah, whatever. They will lose they will lose the no income that I was making on the streams there. Andrew Hu, hey Sticks, do you think the documents that they were after at Mar-a-Lago were the original documents that totally exonerated Trump for the Russiagate hoax that shows FBI, CIA, and Clinton's involved? It's possible that that's part of the pile. Clearly, the massive number of documents indicates it was more than that. Some of it had to do with Macron, supposedly, and some notes and picture books and shit like that. They basically went in and grabbed everything. I don't think there's any legit concern that any of it was actually classified, but we'll get the affidavit in heavily redacted form and all hell will break loose because the liberals will immediately claim victory because they're fucking stupid and don't understand how redactions work. Luka Pilipovic, any update on Romney? I'd like to see him get lizzed. Yeah, I think he's up in, is he up in 24 or 26? He's an older dude. He might not even live that long. Who cares? Sparky, Biden replaces Kamala with Liz Cheney, then steps down, leaving Liz Cheney as president. Then she runs as the incumbent in 24. How about that? Yeah, that would be really funny, but it won't happen. Trent Falkenrath, I don't know what clank means, and at this point I'm afraid to ask. Free Kevin. It just means to keep your spoon in your coffee or your tea while you are drinking it. Of course, you stir it and it clanks around in the cup. As the weather gets less hot, I will probably return to clanking. Next one, sex between men, not skin contact, is fueling monkeypox, new research suggests. Yes, NBC News here, saying the obvious that everyone already knew. The claim that skin-to-skin contact during sex between men, not the intercourse itself, drives most monkeypox transmissions is likely backward, a growing group of experts say. So yeah, experts from mainline health institutes, so I'm actually allowed to talk about this. A week ago, if I'd said this, I don't know, maybe it'd be medical misinformation by YouTube standards. Yes, people have been trying to claim erroneously that it's not actually people fucking each other in the ass that's spreading monkeypox, but it's people fucking each other in the ass spreading monkeypox. By the way, that's not just a gay behavior. Straight couples do that, people who are bi or whatever. And a lot of it has to do with orgies. It doesn't have to do with monogamous couples, mainly. It has to do with swinger culture. That should be pointed out, by the way. But there's been this nonstop, for several months now, there's been a nonstop propaganda campaign to tell people, no. It's a public health emergency because it's begun spreading mainly through respiratory droplets and like handshakes and shit. And that's how all these kids and dogs, by the way, are getting monkeypox. Yeah, I believe that completely. And so we need to give government more power. And you should, you fly the rainbow flag because, you're a bigot because you claim that it was taking place because of butt sex. But the fact is, it is. This is from the CDC. Who else needs to weigh in on this for it to be considered canonically true by the powers that be on old tech and so forth? The fact is that this has begun to be primarily a sexually transmitted disease. Monkeypox normally is animal to human. So in most cases that we see, there's no outbreak at all. A monkey or, another mammalian species has monkeypox. You're in Nigeria, maybe rural, typically Ghana. Sometimes there's a Central African strain, specifically in the Congolese basin. And someone is bitten or someone eats bushmeat. It's improperly prepared. It's not sterile by any measure. And they get monkeypox. And occasionally you get a care worker, someone who gets it through droplets, through skin contact, blood. Occasionally you have a few human-to-human transmissions, but the outbreaks tend to be very small. The problem is that what happened with this current monkeypox outbreak is that the original vector of the disease involved swinger culture, kink. It involved orgies. And so you had a person who probably was either from or went to West Africa. It's the West African strain. And they got monkeypox or had it potentially if they traveled outbound. And they went to a swingers convention. And they had sex unprotected with 20 or 30 men. And they gave half of the monkeypox. Those people, because they are obviously part of swinger and orgy culture, then gave it to 10, 20 additional people apiece. Pretty soon you had hundreds and hundreds of cases of monkeypox. The way to take care of this is to encourage the public about safe sex. Hey, if you take a month, maybe 2 months, that's all we're asking you for, and don't fuck 20 or 30 people in the ass, The problem will effectively go away because there's no other transmission methodology by which this disease can maintain long term. That is the truth. It is not highly transmissible through skin-to-skin contact. This has been confirmed by the WHO, by the CDC, by every legitimate medical organization in the entire fucking goddamn civilized world. They're still trying to pretend it's not sexually transmitted primarily. Ms. Kim 1223, coffee brand coffee. Flufferboy 2004, Sam Harris was a great example of intelligence without wisdom. I don't think there's much intelligence there either, certainly not of a strategic nature. Reminds me of someone who's verbose, and so people just assume, like some content creator, they put a bookshelf behind themselves and they have a reasonably good grasp of grammar, and they're sort of like a French courtesan from the late 1700s. They have a very, very surface level understanding of a few interesting topics, and they ramble about them, and people think that they're an expert. They say the same thing 20 different ways in the same video, and they say it differently, so people assume it's a different topic. Sam Harris is not intelligent. Intelligent people don't say the sort of weird shit that he said the other day. Logan Davis, did you talk about Trump endorsing 2 Dems in New York? Yes, that was today's New Tech exclusive. Follow me on Rumble, BitChute, Minds, or Odyssey, and you can see those extra videos that I make every single day. Sigil Stone 17. There's actual STDs that don't spread through sex as readily as monkeypox does. But remember, it's totally not an STD, guys. Happy Pride Parade. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, the medical complex is not doing any good for people who are like gay or something like that by pretending it's not an STD. You're causing more people involved with that lifestyle to be infected. You're giving them more of a stigma because if monkeypox dies out in a week, no, it's not a major story. Nobody's using gay slurs or anything because there's no problem. But now you've got a localized epidemic with regards to this, and it's giving fodder to people who just hate gay people. Joe, do you like long-range shooting? I enjoy predicting flight path through the atmosphere. Fun fact, humid air is less dense than dry air because more hydrogen atoms. I actually like shorter distance plinking. I like my revolvers better than anything else. I want like 5 revolvers in the future. Eaters of Dead. How do you know closed loop? Do you know what closed loop funding is? How Democrats continuously implement it? How the right seems to ignore it? Do they support it? I don't know what that is, actually. Logan Davis. Trump is the ultimate troll. Please make him president. Well, he already was. I have a feeling he will be again. Grover Cleveland style. Danger Aaron, I heard you talking about this earlier. His Stelter tribute is nothing short of brilliant today. And FYSA, Mark Dice is offering free shipping on all his merch and books with the code PotatoHead this weekend. Clank, enjoy. G-Sticks, you're still my favorite. Keep on clanking on. Yes, that is a G-Sticks piece behind me right here. The little stick man, by the way, everyone. Baron Von Blair sent a thumbs up and sent $6.66. Thank you. Loch Ness Monster, I'll give you about $3.50 to make cat dance. Nah, no, she seems to be I can make her tail dance. Yeah, she does a very beautiful meow sometimes when she's in the right mood. I'm sorry I woke you up. I apologize. Looking Glass Alice, do you believe, over on Rumble, oh, here, I'll do this. Do you believe, depending on how much the affidavit is redacted, can Trump remove the redactions once he's back in the White House, or will it not matter by then? May your drink be clankalicious. By then, it won't matter. T-Biddy-Wag, off topic, but you mentioned RuneScape a few weeks ago. Why did you stop playing? Jagex is adding fresh worlds to reset economy. Would you play again? No, I'm not going to get back into it because it's a waste of time. Next news story, Florida Governor DeSantis versus Chris. I do apologize. The baby is clearly not having a good time at the moment. I don't know why. It's probably just random fussing. We do have a new poll with regards to this, and it comports to all the past polls, although the last 2 have been a little bit more in DeSantis' favor. And this one has a good sample size. It is of registered voters, so we're not going to ignore it. It's a UNF poll showing the race between DeSantis and Chris. DeSantis at 50 and Chris at 42. DeSantis is clearly not gearing up for a presidential run at the moment. He's moving to just become governor again in Florida. And it will be against Charlie Crist. To be clear, when we talk about the Nikki Fried, that is a meme campaign. She has been behind by double digits in most polls and significant single digits in the rest. There was one poll the other day that was widely talked about as evidence of velocity in her favor. She has overtaken Crist, a single poll. By the way, we're careful of this in our analysis, and there will be a lot more polls since this is considered a competitive race for reasons that escape me completely. Nikki Fried is not ahead of Charlie Crist, just to tell the truth. She is substantially behind him. Baby is really having some problems there. But DeSantis will win re-election. Again, like with the other day in my stream, my big question is this. Who wins by a greater margin? DeSantis, who faces off against corporate machine politician Crist. He's not very charismatic. He's on the older side. He's been in politics in Florida forever. Or Greg Abbott, who's running against fresh-faced midlife crisis actor Beto. I still think that Greg Abbott will have a higher margin. I think that Greg Abbott will approach 10, and with DeSantis, it'll be 5 or 6. But we'll wait and see. We'll definitely have to do some casual, non-monetary, of course, betting on the subject closer to the midterms. That'll be a big one to watch. Well, 2 races. Colin Madden, it's hard to fathom the intellectual inconsistency of the modern left. It seems like a political figure who effectively destroyed 3 major evil political dynasties would have been a hero to them decades ago. Yeah, they liked Trump in the 90s and 2000s. They had no problem with him back then. And yes, the fact is, if you had told the liberals 10 years ago that someone would come along in the GOP, end the Bushes, end the Cheneys, end the Romneys, cripple them all and get rid of all the war-loving neocons, and the McCain dynasty would end, they would say, oh my God, sign me up. Shit, maybe I need to switch parties and become a Republican for the first time. But because it's Orange Man, he doesn't get credit for that. Eaters of Dead. Closed loop funding as the left passes bills forcing people to buy green energy. In return, the green funding gives donations back to the politicians. It creates a permanent funding solution. Yeah, they're very fond of this. I would say the Republicans have done this too on different issues, however. Just to be clear, this is done by both parts of the uniparty system. Sam Harris is the idiot's smart man. Yeah, I don't consider him smart. I like how they use the term intellectual dark web or some shit like that. It's like the cringiest idea ever. Sparky, many who carry themselves as intellectuals are merely intellectual wannabes. And now we've got the final story of the day. This is from my home state of Vermont. This is a throwaway, so don't worry about it. I thought this was funny. Burlington City Council moves forward with construction of pods for those experiencing homelessness. As housing in Burlington remains hard to come by, the city is continuing with the creation of pods for individuals experiencing homelessness. On Monday, the City Council authorized the Director of the Community and Economic Development Office, also known as CEDO, to enter into 5 construction contracts distributing nearly $1.5 million in Federal American Rescue Plan Act funds previously set aside for the project. The pod site is expected to include 25 single occupancy and 5 two-person shelters equipped with electricity, heat, and air conditioning at the city-owned parking of 51 Elmwood Ave in the Old North End. A building with communal showers and toilets is also planned. Let me tell you exactly what's going to happen with this horseshit. These are going to be vandalized, broken apart, and end up filled with junkies. Or they will be heavily bureaucratized and they will be completely meaningless. There are only 2 solutions to what happens with their homeless pod project. Either the city really keeps a close eye on them, which means you keep paying through the nose, you have security, monitoring, etc. And you have to carefully vet the people that use them. So, the dude who's, wandering around, he's got the DTs or something, he won't be allowed into the pod. It'll be the young mother. It'll be the recent immigrant or something like that. So it'll be very carefully curated. So it won't actually help most people that need that help. Or they will not do that. They'll say, look, it's first come, first serve. You get a couple nights in your pod, and you get a card. You have a certain number of punches per year or whatever they're going to do. And we don't care who it is. Then you'll get people dealing heroin out of the pods. You're going to get people prostituting themselves in the pods. You're going to get people who burn the fucking pods into their own footprint. I'm wondering which one of these will be the case. I guarantee that within the next 5 years, the city of Burlington will look at this project as a failure, and they'll say, well, if we had just put a little bit more money into it, If we had been a little bit more generous to the poor homeless people, none of this would have happened, and it'll be very funny. Metal Raider 2181, please don't send any more super chats because it sounds like I will be needed with the baby in a minute here. Self-proclaimed intellectuals are like men who call themselves alpha males. They got some strong Jack Murphy energy about them. Agreed. And Baron Von Blair 499 over on YouTube. By the way, we did hit 6,000 watching live, so pretty good. I know I missed yesterday, so it's a little bit lower today, but unfortunately, I do have to let you all go now and do, I guess, potentially baby stuff here. So that's about all. Peace out.